Hey now, so I want to cover two things. I want to go present my agenda real quickly here. No PowerPoint this time, not in Vegas and back home, as you can see. The first is talking about the era of committee, the ballot that came out today. And the second thing I want to talk later on, because Bonds, to no surprise, is on the committee, or sorry, on the finalist list. There's a lot of fake bonds, of holograms out there. And I want to get to that. But before I get to that, I just want to data dump what's in my head about the 8 names that came out today. So I did a video 2 weeks ago of my guess of the 10 names that came out. I shot 50%, maybe a little bit better if you consider at the time I thought there would be 10 names, and turns out there's only 8 names. And I thought you could vote for most 4 candidates when the 16 player committee gets together. Turns out they're only going to be available to vote for 3 candidates total. I'm wondering if the last ballot caused this. When I say the last ballot, last year, Dick Allen narrowly missed getting in by 1 vote, and it seemed peculiar, for lack of a better term, how 4 people accumulated the most amount of votes in that committee, and they nearly got 4 people in. Allen literally missed it by a vote. Yet now they changed the rules a little. You can only vote for 3 players. You can't vote for 4. But in return, instead of giving you 10 names, they gave you 8. And so the first 4 names, Bonds, Clemens, McGriff, and Schilling. No surprise to any of those names there. They all fell off the ballot since the last time they had the modern era committee meet. I think anyone that really knows this stuff is not surprised about this at all. It's the other 4 names I want to go over, and I was able to guess Albert Bell. I was really excited about that one. But then again, Mattingly and Murphy. I mean, Mattingly never won the World Series, never got his ring. I think he wanted to backdoor his way in like Joe Torre did, and I think the Yankees were trying to help him with that, and it never worked out. So let's get him off the ballot. I mean, with all due respect to Don Mattingly, if he played in Detroit like Lou Whitaker, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Same thing with Dale Murphy. Dale Murphy, everyone knows, back-to-back MVPs. Not a big, I don't want to say not a big deal. It's a huge deal. I take that back. But just his career span as a whole wasn't long enough. And I remember when he went to Colorado just to get to 400 home runs. We're not talking 500 home runs. We're talking 400 home runs. And it was just pathetic to the point he just retired, I think, at like 398. He just said, I can't do that. And so we're debating Dale Murphy, granted 2 MVPs, versus a Fred McGriff sitting at 497, well respected, stayed out of all the steroids controversy. 497 home runs, so nearly 100 home runs better than Dale Murphy over the entire lifespan of his career. So, yes, again, I know the MVPs, but I mean, looking at the careers as a whole, and I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but I've done this analysis before. The only one of this list that is a no-brainer to me to possibly get in is Fred McGriff. Now, I think it's important that this ballot get people in. It's really important. They got to clean up some names. Obviously, I think the most important name is McGriff. Now, I would say second most important is Schilling. Schilling, let's be honest, and I'm probably no one's done more to keep them out of the Hall of Fame in the last 50 years easily, maybe longer than Curt Schilling. When he retired, he was a Hall of Famer. I think still is a Hall of Famer, and there's no question his personal beliefs and everything he's done outside of baseball, granted not illegal, like that came out during his career, like at Pete Rose or somebody, or like he didn't turn out he's beat his wife like an Omar Vizquel got accused of. But it's still not good. It's not a good look. And so there's no question the baseball writers punished him for that. And I'm not saying it was justified. And I don't think it was justified, but I'm not a voter. So what do I say? Do I have? Again, I think 3,000 strikeouts is that magic number, which he has. Plus, it's all his postseason heroics. Then we go into the fact that, I mean, Palmeiro and Bell, and I like Albert Bell. I mean, he is a real closer candidate than I think people give him credit for. I think if he was media friendly, played in a big market city, he may already be in by now, or at least he would have more consideration. I think he just gets hurt because of the fact that He was not a nice guy. But anyone that gets hit by a pitch and refuses to take first base is okay in my book. So, I mean, that leaves us with, again, we talked about Chile, and then there's Bonds and Clemens. And I'd be surprised if one got in and not the other. They almost go hand in hand. The difference being Clemens was in the Mitchell report, Bonds wasn't. But like the stigma around Bonds is so strong. So, and then if you let Bonds and Clemens in, that opens up a Pandora's box. Now, I know I was talking to Jake via text today, and he said, listen, they let Ortiz in, and he supposedly failed an 0-3 test. And there's no, don't say if they let him in, might as well let all the steroid guys in. And I mean, I still think like Bonds and Clemens are in a different, I'm just viewed differently than Ortiz for some reason. And again, if Bonds would have played in New York City and had all these heroics with the Yankees, who knows? I mean, like, because of Ortiz played in Boston. So it'll be interesting to see how the committee comes out. I think you're going to see Bonds and Clemens do lower than people think. I think the players are going to resent the fact that they either did or allegedly cheated, which will still rub a lot of people the wrong way. So unless the committee members are made of like, I don't know, even the people in San Francisco hated him. So like even like the Jeff Kents of the world did not like Bonds. He was such a narcissistic person. Like he did the hitting coach for a year for the Marlins, and they fired him because he was a horrible hitting coach, and like he was lazy. And you can read the stories about it; they're great. I won't get into more of that. So, and again, you get them in. You got the Mannies of the world. I mean, how can you let Bonds and Clemens in and not Palmeiro? Palmeiro has the two magic numbers. You know what I'm saying? Granted, they're not clean. I'm not even saying that, but I mean, putting steroids aside, then if you put them in, what do you do with Sheffield? And just like, it just, again, like I said, it opens up a Pandora's box. And you can make an argument that when Selig got in and La Russa got in and Ortiz got in, that box has already been opened. To me, the box is still shut. And I think it's going to stay shut to, it's going to pick a name, random, let's say a Jeff Bagwell comes out and says, you know what? I took steroids during my career. I'm in the Hall of Fame. You let me in. You got to let some others in also. Either that or kick me out, which they're not going to do. Once you're in, you're in. So that's just my 5 cents on the Baseball Hall of Famer. So who's going to get in? If my guess, I think McGriff gets in for sure, unless it's a really bad makeup of the committee. And it's really important to see who these 16 people voting members are, because I mean, Harold Baines doesn't get in unless you get the right makeup of committee members. A couple of years ago, more than a couple of years ago, 2018, whenever he got in. I mean, he had two strong advocates, maybe more, you could argue, on that committee that really pushed for him to get in. I mean, that goes back to the beginning of time. You look at the 70s and 80s with the Ford Fricks, not the Ford Fricks, I'm sorry, Frankie Frisch and the Bill Terrys of the world. I'm going down a rabbit hole now. I realize that. One thing I'm not surprised about is the people not on the committee. Like, I live in Detroit, and everyone can't believe Lou Whitaker didn't get on. I am not surprised at all. If you look how the Baseball Hall of Fame committee works, at dollars to donuts, he'll be there in 3 years on that ballot again, the next time he's eligible for it. I'm a little surprised not to see Dwight Evans on there, but this is still a really strong ballot. I would have liked to see one of those two on, but I think the people who made up this list of 8 names, they want to get the Clemens and Bonds and even Schilling on there. We got to know where they stand. And they all rightfully, for one way or another, deserve to see how their peers judge them, even though the media and people like myself have already judged them. No one, their peers really haven't come out and said like, oh, Schilling should be punished because of his political views, or Bonds should be punished for being alleged guilty, or Clemens should be punished because he is guilty. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm excited. It's an interesting ballot. In terms of autographs, the hardest guy by far in this is Barry Bonds. So before we go any further, I'm about 10 minutes in. I'm going to start sharing my screen now. I want to get into the different COAs involved Barry Bonds. And we're going to look at the later in life autographs and talk a little bit about that, because there's a lot of inconclusive / bad autographs out there. So let's get going with that right now. So Bonds autograph, he used to sell it mostly on his website. If you wanted 100% Barry Bonds autograph, you went to his website, and he hasn't updated this in a really long time. I took a look. There is like a replica jersey signed for sale, and there's like a women's home jersey for sale. Those are like 500 each. But other than that, everything is sold out. And this has been sold out for a long time. This is nothing recent. Bonds has done, since he retired, one, maybe two shows in the San Francisco area. In addition to that, he did a signing when he was with the Marlins for the hitting coach during spring training that he had to be at contractually. Everything else he was gone for. And I will say this, when he was at his signing, I'm going to get back out here. When he did do his signing, his public signing with the Marlins, I remember people getting it. They waited like hours and nights. It was a numbered system. And he signed his full name, the similar name you would get if you bought an autograph through his website right now. That same type of autograph. If you saw him, it wasn't a paid signing, but if you saw him like at an organized signing, that's what you were getting. I don't know. He was, like I said, a GTSM show 4 or 5 years ago. And I saw some autographs out of that. It was a little bit of a shorter version. It wasn't a full name version per se, but I want to get back to the COAs. So probably the most common COA, and I pulled this off of Outer Safe. And again, I can't recommend them highly enough. They're really strong. Is this version of his autograph with the B and the S. I want to get further down here. Maybe this one has it. Yeah, you can see this round hologram right here. And it says Barry Bonds hologram. And I mean, it's close. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to show what I have in a little bit. But this kind of resembles like a hybrid of an old school signing mixed with a new school signing. And what he did was, as he was approaching 700 home runs and the record for that matter, he altered his autograph. He made a longer autograph, sold it exclusively through his website, and signed an exclusive autograph deal with Topps Cards that only Topps can have them. So again, here's another autograph. This is on eBay right now. And again, it has the circle autograph. Now, just a quick background. The person who started these circle autographs, the same person that's responsible for the Willie Mays autographs that you see the Say Hey hologram. My personal belief is the Say Hey started good way back when and went bad real quick. So now TPAs will not pass this hologram. So good, bad, I would say avoid if you're looking to sell an autograph of his. You're not going to be able to sell it. That's the bottom line. I keep going back and forth. I'm sorry about that. So again, moving on to here. This is the autograph I have, and I'll show it to you in a second and get what to look for. This I bought right off the website. I think he hit his 700th home run in the fall of 2004 before hitting whatever 762 in 2000 a couple years later. But anyways, he was selling this through his website. I paid more money than I should have, but he was not doing signings. He did one signing that year. He did with Alex Rodriguez, and the prices were starting at $1,000 for both in New York. It was just insane. You got to meet them and pictures, and like it was stickered and everything. I mean, it's kind of ironic looking back now that you have two nearly 700 hitters, and neither of them are in the Hall of Fame, and neither of them may make the Hall of Fame. So, yeah, it's $1,000. It was a one-time only. I think they only sold 250 tickets. So, again, if you go on eBay, you'll see like the Barry Bonds Topps signatures. And again, that's later on. That's all you want to see is on Topps because they had the exclusive for Bonds for a while. But you're going to see the shortened signature right here. I mean, if I pull this up right here, I mean, I'm not saying it's not good. I think it is good. I wish it was right side. It was horizontal, not vertical. But you can see it's a very short that he put on his cards. And the B's the other B's consisted almost like a number 3. You can see with the loop around and the S. But it looks nothing like you're going to see the autograph you're going to buy on his website. So, again, that's good. I mean, again, yeah, here's one again. You can see here. They're not crazy expensive on Topps cards because once he was exclusive, he signed a while. But again, this is the autograph you were getting even at a paid signing back then. Not most recently, but like he still did a few signings in the early 2000s in the San Francisco area. But I mean, people I think are buying him again because obviously his name is in the news again with the committee. So what you need to look for is a full name. If I were buying an autograph today, it would look like this. It would be the full Barry Bonds autograph, and more importantly, all these holograms. And the two holograms you want to look for are the square hologram and the MLB round circled hologram. I don't think he's done a signing with MLB or MLB certified since they moved from like the square, from the circle to like the oval that they have now, the much bigger circle. So you know what it is if you've seen it, obviously. So you're looking for the square Barry Bonds, not the circle. So when he did his signings, it came with actually two signatures. The amount of money he charged, it better came with two signatures. One was on the ball itself, and I'm going to pull mine out right now. And the other one was on a COA he signed himself, that was signed by a witness, like a legal witness. So if you can see the hologram, I don't know how good it's going to come with this computer, but it's you can see this is my baseball. It's still pearl, which is like beautiful autograph. So, and I can see if he gets in, him charging hundreds of dollars to get in. And this is the case that it came in. I'll show it to you real quickly here. And like, I kept the case for whatever reason. And it has what the hologram looks like. And again, this is the square. It's a picture of him like running and hitting at the same time. So long story short, circle holograms. I don't know if they're legit or not. Maybe some were, in my opinion, like kind of like the maze. Regardless, know that TPAs did pass them originally. Same thing with the Willie Mays, same with the Barry Bonds. They were all about the same time that they came out. And originally the TPA saw this. They said, oh, his own hologram. And like the person, I forget his name, who was associated with Willie Mays, they all, again, same guy. And now it turns out they forged both of them. Granted, I think the Barry Bonds is a little bit tougher of a tell than the Willie Mays is so obvious. Even without the hologram, you could tell which ones to say, hey. And there's no question later on those were no good. So there's a good chance the Bonds are no good. So if you're in the market for a Bonds autograph, my first piece of advice is to wait. Don't get in the market now, especially for a ball or something like that. I would wait till the vote comes out next month. Well, obviously, one or two things are going to happen. Either A, he doesn't get in and prices, I think, will drop. Or B, he gets in, obviously. Prices will spike for a while. Then I think he'll start doing shows again, maybe, or I'll do privates. Like the demand's going to be so great, I think, that they'll have to create more supply. Now, I think it'll still be a high price point. I would be prepared if you want one of those dual hologram Bonds, at least $400. At least $400. If you go on the website right now, if you go on eBay right now, I can pull it up again right now. There aren't many legit Barry Bond autographs out there like this one. I think this is not even that nice. I can't tell if this is blue or black. If it's blue, it started to fade. And they're asking, but they're asking $2,000, an insane amount of money for a guy who's living young, so on and so forth. So I know I'm rambling. I don't like to do it that often, but I love the Hall of Fame. And maybe later on, I'll go into getting about the autographs of the other 9 people selected for the finalists. Again, by far the hardest is going to be Barry Bonds. If you got a piece you're waiting on to do a signing, don't wait. But don't pick him up now. If you like, there's no rush. He's not going anywhere. Trust me on that. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. And as always, keep collecting.